Welcome to MAASE Field Notes, a space where we pause, reflect, and learn from the work happening across Michigan and beyond. I'm Abby Cypher, Executive Director of MAASE, and I'm glad that you're joining us for today's episode. This conversation is part of our ongoing effort to elevate learning from the field, highlighting the people, partnerships, and practices shaping special education across Michigan. Today's episode focuses on the MITTIN Project, a statewide initiative grounded in collaboration, innovation, and educator voice. I'm especially pleased to introduce today's guest host, Dr. Derek Cooley, Director of Special Education in the Godwin Heights School District and MITTIN Committee Chair. Derek brings deep experience as an educator and past MAASE president. He's been closely connected to the MITTIN work from the very beginning. Derek is a thoughtful leader and collaborator who consistently centers learners, families, and educators in the work. He guides meaningful conversations, which is a great fit for Field Notes. Curious, reflective, and grounded in real experiences. Thank you, Derek, for stepping into this important role, and I will now turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm guest host Derek Cooley, and I am excited to join you today. In today's fantastic episode, we're exploring the MITTIN Project, which is a statewide initiative grounded in partnership, innovation, and lived experiences of many stakeholders, including educators, learners, and families. MITTIN brings together state leaders, district administrators, teachers, facilitators, students, and even some researchers to explore how professional learning, digital design, and systems support can work together to strengthen outcomes for students with disabilities. Today, rather than focusing on a single program or tool, our conversation centers on the process in that how can this work come together, what it looks like in districts and professional learning communities, and what we've learned along the way. We'll hear perspectives from those leading, implementing, and facilitating the work, which will reflect on what it takes to build something that's both responsive and sustainable, which the MITTIN Project has become. Thank you for being part of the Field Notes community, and let's get started. Today, we'll be talking with Dr. Kristine Gullen, the MITTIN Project Manager, Dr. James Nuse, Director of Special Education Services and Early Childhood for Ionia Public Schools, and Dr. Lois Vaughan-Hussain, who is our MITTIN PLC Facilitator. For listeners who might be new to MITTIN, Kristine, could you start us off by briefly describing our project MITTIN?
Thank you, Derek. MITTIN actually is a statewide initiative to improve post-secondary outcomes for students with disabilities. We are growing a library of innovative digital and curricular resources to support the development of daily living and employability skills to really get our students as independent as possible. MITTIN also provides professional development, both virtual and in person. And this has led to the creation of lesson plans and video modeling, which also have become part of our library that we're creating and growing. But yet at the center of MITTIN are its learners. There are kids who are becoming more independent and teachers who are infusing these digital resources in their classrooms and designing lesson plans and really sharing them all through the state, freely sharing them through the state. So those are some of the tangible things that we're doing with MITTIN. Yet one of the things I'm most proud of is that MITTIN has been kind of a catalyst for growth and innovation and connection. It's created spaces for teachers and educators and parents to learn and share and lead. And in turn, it's really helping us reimagine what's possible for our students and our communities. So, Lois, I see you shaking your head. Is there anything else that you would add to MITTIN there?
Actually, Dr. Kristine, you've done a fine job just summarizing what MITTIN is. And I think as we get into what it is and what it's going to eventually grow to be, we'll begin to fill in some of the blanks because I can't wait to talk about that PLC.
Well, thank you both. One of the cornerstones of MITTIN is a strong partnership. And so could you talk a little bit about who our key partners are involved and what has made these collaborations and partnerships unique to MITTIN?
MITTIN really is a partnership at every level. It's led by MAASE, which is the Michigan Association of Administrators for Special Education, and they are the fiscal agent and the statewide reach that we have with this work. Michigan Council for Exceptional Children has a connection to practitioners all through the state. We have Great Lakes Reality Labs, which has expertise in immersive and innovative technologies, and then Public Policy Associates, who are building our capacity for research and evaluation. But besides those partners, we have some other pivotal partnerships and connections. The Michigan Department of Education, our Michigan legislators, virtual public and private schools, Michigan State University, Michigan Virtual University, parent organizations, state agencies that support kids with special needs. And as our work continues to grow, that shared ownership in Mitten really helps us grounded with what's needed in the field and how do we move that forward. But the partners never work in isolation. So we have parents and teachers and students who are suggesting Mitten modules and topics. And then Great Lakes helps to design and develop that. But they bring together subject matter experts. So they bring together parents and teachers to help design what that's going to look like. It's this collaboration across. And even public policy with their research and evaluation, they've helped us partner with Michigan State University to actually put graduate students in classrooms. Can they generalize those skills into the community? Can that work be sustained over time? And then from that, we're getting some really wonderful results in publications. So the partnerships are vast and we keep increasing them because people learn what we're doing and want to be part of the work.
It is really one of the best parts of this project is not only impacting the lives of kids with disabilities, but doing it from several different viewpoints across many different types of organizations and agencies that really bring together multiple perspectives to make Mitten really so much better with having that team of folks constantly collaborating and coming together. Jimmy, can you talk a little bit, speaking of partnerships and collaboration, as the Director of Special Education, how you've been involved with the MITTIN Project?
Sure. So Ionia Public Schools has been a partner with the MITTIN Project for about the last 4 years, and we developed the partnership with MITTIN to really focus on bringing the modules to our classrooms, but also with a intention to evaluate the effectiveness and the ability to translate the skills into real life settings. So, in collaboration with Dr. Lois, Dr. Gullen, and our partners at Michigan State University, we've been able to set up various research studies to evaluate the MITTIN modules. And that's been really exciting to see in our classrooms. The focus of the MITTIN modules currently is looking at evaluating the usage within classrooms for students with mild cognitive impairments and moderate cognitive impairments. But I've also had the opportunity to explore the usage outside of school settings too. So I'm a faculty member with McNeese State University, and we've been able to also look at using these modules with other providers, such as psychiatric nurse practitioners too. So the utility of the MITTIN modules is one of the most, I think, important things that stands out to me, because while the intention is meant for individuals in school settings, we've seen the ability to partner with other organizations like Dr. Gullen mentioned, like senior settings, senior citizen settings, but also we're looking at other populations who sometimes don't have access to this type of resource.
What changes have you seen with your staff, your students, and your families after using MITTIN resources?
So one thing about that's unique to our district, but not unique to other places, is that we're considered a rural school district. We also support families that do not have access to the same resources as maybe some other communities. And with that, that always presents challenges about access. And the MITTIN modules help level that playing field to provide our students with disabilities the opportunity to practice skills that they might not have in other circumstances. So for instance, we've been able to work with students who sometimes don't unable to access their community, whether that be to a transportation barrier, or potentially they might have barriers because of problem behavior, which make it potentially unsafe to access those community settings. And through the MITTIN modules, we've been able to provide those opportunities to start to learn those skills with the hopes of eventually generalization out in their community. So with that, we've seen a lot of confidence in our students, a lot of comfortability in increasing their independent living and with their community living skills as well.
For the broader MAASE audience, knowing that we have many, many new administrators to the field, what would you tell either a veteran administrator in the field or maybe a new administrator in the field on whether they should participate in MITTIN?
I think whether you're an experienced administrator with 15 years in the field or a brand new special ed director or supervisor, that if you're not using them in modules in any of your classrooms at this point, that you take a hard look at them. Of course, it's great to have access to something that is free, but there's something more to be said about the MITTIN modules because they're actually practical and they're well-intentioned and they're thoughtful. And they really do allow our students with often sometimes the most significant of disabilities, particularly students with cognitive impairments, the opportunity to start to learn skills in a safe, kind of neutral environment with a low risk. And for districts that are working in rural settings, this allows your students the opportunity to start to learn about what does the community-based instruction look like. Of course, the goal is that we generalize the skills after students have been initially taught them in the virtual environment to the real life setting. So for instance, if we have students that are learning how to cook food safely on an oven in the MITTIN modules, the goal is eventually they'll translate those skills. But without these MITTIN modules, we're really missing out on the opportunity to practice and pre-teach skills prior to getting into those real life environments without the risk that sometimes comes with certain things like cooking or going out to the community and practicing shopping in an environment. And I think that if you're not using them, the easiest thing is start using them, share them with your teams, share them with your providers, your special education teachers, and get them into the hands of those people who are working with our students every single day.
For our broader MAASE community of administrators, as a district special education leader, Jimmy, what would be the most valuable takeaway, either personally or professionally, that you might share?
Professionally, I would say that it's been so wonderful to see our students and staff be lifted up in this work. As the director, it feels great to be able to bring a innovative practice to my teams and share about those. But the real work is happening with our teaching staff and our providers. So for me, it's been really positive and powerful to see our special education teachers take this work and actually do it with their students, but then also start to expand on it. So I've been able to have my staff members participate in the PLC work with Dr. Lois and Dr. Gullen as well. And to see their interest and to see their commitment to this work has been really, really exciting. On a personal note, I would say that the opportunities I've had to partner with MITTIN on some of the research work through McNeese and with Michigan State University, that's also been really fulfilling, being able to help develop and partner on various publications that we've been able to publish.
That's one of the coolest things about this project is
Jimmy has some amazing teachers in his district that are working on the MITTIN modules and doing research on MITTIN and have gotten to the point now that they're actually going to be presenting on this at statewide conferences.
That's right.
Because not only have they grown their expertise in the curriculum, but they're growing their expertise on leadership and facilitation. And they're bringing that together and they're becoming actually spokespeople for this and training other teachers this work. So it's just been wonderful to see. So Jen and Kara, I mean, they're just doing great work with MITTIN.
So that's a great tee up for Dr. Lois. Can you a little bit about what's unique to the MITTIN PLC model compared to maybe some other professional learning experiences for folks in the field?
Yeah. And this is so perfect that Dr. James started with the impact of his teachers, because that's where we come in. One uniqueness that we have about our MITTIN professional learning communities is that it is statewide. With our MITTIN PLC model, it is a statewide approach, looking at all of the experts in special education across the state in those diverse communities that Dr. James just talked about. Sometimes in the communities that we serve, you could be the sole special education provider, and you don't really have a lot of folks to connect with. Or you're in a district where the resources could be quite slim. This whole approach to a statewide model of PLC allows a few things. It allows us to be creative. So using technology, our collaborative space is virtual as well as in person. And what it does, it creates an opportunity for purposeful dialogue as well as professional development. It's like we have like these little mini workshops. And in the midst of doing all of that, it creates opportunities for us to bridge some of those great special ed concepts as we design that specially designed instruction, particularly for transition goals. We look at instructional fidelity. We look at educational compliance in special ed, but we also look at those classroom best practices that supports great student outcomes as well as teacher growth. Now, something else I think is significant that we bring up that's unique to our MITTIN PLCs is that we're intentionally practice-centered and outcome-driven. Now, what does that mean? Well, we have conversations about teaching and learning. I mean, that's what PLCs do. But what we do, we are supportive to each other because we're coming from a diverse community. We have elementary special ed teachers, secondary special ed teachers, self-contained teachers, related service staff. We have community-based coordinators that's out there in the field supporting their students' transition skills. All of those minds come together. And when they come together, we have an opportunity to look at what strategies are we using, developing transition goals, as well as promoting those skill acquisitions. And when we do that, all of those good discoveries, there's something else that's unique about our PLC, is that we develop web-based MITTIN curricular resources and lesson plans for other Michigan practitioners to use in their instructional space. That's really what's unique about what we do.
We've talked about quite a bit of research that the MITTIN Project has already generated. How did the PLCs support our educators and folks in the field moving from theory to practice?
Yeah. And you know what's great about that? I'm going to go back to the concepts that we do in our PLC, the way that collaborative structure is developed. We have like mini workshops. So I want you to think about this. If our population are teachers and related staff members from all over the state, it's a possibility that they haven't had rich research about technology in the classroom or mixed reality or some of these concepts that's being used under the umbrella of MITTIN. So within these many workshops that we have as a part of our PLC, we can take theory to practice through application and reflection. So at each PLC, they're kind of scaffold on top of each other. We begin with new learning, supporting our teachers with some of the best practices and research-based strategies when using technology in the classroom, particularly mixed reality. And what you're going to find that many of our teachers have not had the experience of using the MITTIN module, so we're introducing those concepts to them, but as well as just using good technology as a form of their teaching and learning. So with this happened, it actually translated into theory into instructional decision making. So teachers are beginning to ask the question, what am I teaching? How am I going to teach it?
I know you've worked with hundreds of individuals in the PLC model. What has been the impact on our participants?
Another thing, Derek, that I'd like to lift up with that, and Dr. Lois mentioned the fact that we do evaluations after all of our PLCs and our professional learning, but public policy associates are also created surveys for us that we've used that they facilitate. So we have a third party that comes in and not only surveys teachers, but parents on the effectiveness of the modules. And most recently, they did these focused interviews around a lot of our PLC participants. And they just released some of those quotes from teachers from their participation in the MITTIN modules and how that has impacted them professionally, but also personally, and even the trajectory of their work has changed from getting into more leadership positions and being lead teachers and moving into more administrative roles. So it's fun to not only do the work, but then see the results and have this outside evaluation that confirms what we're doing as we're putting it together.
What early indicators are telling us that this work is having a meaningful impact?
Some of our earliest indications are the research that we're doing with Michigan State. I think the articles that we've published that have gone through peer-reviewed journals who feel that this is work that needs to be lifted up. And it's just not national journals. These are international journals that we are looking at and putting together. I think it's the impact that we're hearing from teachers on their practice. I think it's feedback from kids. I have teachers telling me the kids just so appreciate doing these all the time. And we started collecting analytics on Mitten module usage. So I can see day by day how often people are going to the website and downloading the modules to use. But one of the things that I thought was very surprising is they're getting used on Saturdays and Sundays as well. It's just not a Monday through Friday thing that we've got students going home and still accessing these with their families. So that idea that learning keeps happening is just a really, really encouraging piece.
To add on, I think one of the things that I've seen as an early indicator is when we share with our teams, when we share with our staff, or for instance, when we presented on these, when we are getting just, quick questions right at the end about how do I access these? How do I look at these modules? That I think that's the early indicator that we know that there's something of value here, and there's something that educators or related service providers feel like there's going to be some potential benefit to use of these in my classroom, with my clients, with my students, with my patients, whatever role they might be.
Mitten has been up and running for a few years now, and the work that the team has accomplished so far has been incredible. I'm wondering what excites all of you about the future of the Mitten work?
Love seeing how the library continues to grow because people are asking for more. That every time we go to a parent fair, people have ideas of what they'd like to have next. As we go out into the community and work with employers, they're asking us, can you do this too? So that idea that we're not even close to being done. We're just starting to actually put this library together because so many people are seeing the worth of it and the impact it can have. I also love the fact that we continue to grow with it. When we started Mitten technology, we used a keyboard navigation. And then we moved into a one-touch navigation, which opened up all this assistive technology we could use. And then we moved the next year to a web-based system so it could be used on almost any device that had internet connections. This year, we're adding a sign language to our modules as well. So that's been really exciting for me, that every year we improve as far as the technology that goes along with our modules, the accessibility that comes with our modules, and the topics that we have. And that the students and teachers and families are part of that conversation as well as community members. We haven't reached a saturation point. We have lots of ideas of where to go next.
I'll wrap up this question for us and kind of piggyback off of Dr. Lois. Both her and Dr. Gullen mentioned that Mitten is becoming a statewide name. I really think that Mitten is going to be a national name. I'm really excited to see the dissemination of these modules and see how our colleagues in other states or other countries will use these with their students, with their loved ones, individuals who would benefit from technology like this. So while we are helping develop it in partnership with our colleagues, with all of the different agencies, in addition to the financial support we've received from the state of Michigan legislature, I'm really excited to see how these can continue to expand in other parts of the country as well. And I think Mitten's going to be a nationally known name.
There's so many opportunities as we move forward, even when we look at all the work that we've done. I'm wondering for our listeners, where can they learn about Mitten or get involved? How can they participate in the project moving forward?
Our website is MITTIN.org. So mitten.org. And if you go to the website and see Mitten, you'll learn about Mitten. The resources are right there on the site. There is a how to get involved area, which you can fill out a form that asks you, do you want to be part of the PLCs? My contact information, Kristine Gullen at maase.org is there, MAASE.org, because we come out to schools, we come out to parent groups, we come out to facilities. Love to do that. We love to do that. So if you're interested in being part of this, and we have people who are part of writing teams, people who are part of design teams, people who are helping us with conferences and, just lots of different ways. So there's lots of ways to enter and be involved with Mitten, our website, and that's a great place to start.
Well, as we wrap up today, I just continue to be amazed by how clearly this work reflects a shared commitment to collaboration, obviously thoughtful design, and to listening closely to and working with all of our partners in the field, special ed teachers, administrators, students, obviously families. This project reminds me that meaningful change doesn't happen in isolation. We have to do this as a team through partnerships, as we discussed, ongoing professional learning, as you have highlighted so well, and through creating spaces where educators and families can reflect, problem solve, and grow together to meet the needs of all kids. And obviously, the most important part is it happens when systems are built with the needs of learners and families at the center. Nothing more important than that. I'm so grateful to Dr. Kristine Gullen, Dr. Lois Vaughan-Hussain, and Dr. James Nuse for sharing their insights and experiences and for the work they continue to do every single day with staff and districts across the state. If you'd like to learn more or get involved, we would love to have you join us. And again, like Dr. Kristine said, visit our website and click on the How to Get Involved tab. Again, appreciate your time today. We hope you enjoyed this topic and this project, knowing a little bit more about Mitten, and thanks for joining us.